Fire, 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 fire.
Affairs put a spring in your step, boost your self-esteem, and life satisfaction. Scientists studied 609 people. Not a big sample size, but decent enough. People involved in an affair, 338 who had been a victim of it. Women who cheated reported increased self-esteem and life satisfaction. Opposite was true for men who suffered more after committing adultery. I was always told that men are the hoes, that they don't feel anything because they're the ones with no emotions or whatever. That's what I was told. Sorry, the sun's blinding me. Couldn't see the fucking screen. Women have higher sex drives? Is that true? I don't know. When George Michael sang about cheating on a partner and never wanting to dance again, he may have been onto something. Scandalous. That's because men are more likely to report low self-esteem and a decrease in life satisfaction after having an affair, while for women it's the opposite, according to a study. Is it a post-nut clarity thing? Maybe? Like, in the moment, men do it, and then they have the nut, and then they're like, maybe this wasn't such a great idea. Men know they did something wrong. Dude, they really paint women as being really evil in this, right? Dude, researchers from Tilburg University in the Netherlands, okay, collected data on German adults over 12 years. Whoa, that's a really long time study. And asked them about their well-being as well as their relationships. From a large cohort, they focused on 609 people who had been involved in an affair and 338 who had been a victim of one. Analysis revealed, on the whole, women who cheated reported an increase in self-esteem and life satisfaction after the affair. Meanwhile, the opposite appeared to be true for men, who suffered more after committing adultery. This assumes people are honest about their cheating. I mean, I don't know the details of the study, but regardless. Like, can we talk about this for a second, though? Why is it every time we read an article like this, it makes women sound like cartoon villains? Analysis revealed, on the whole, women who cheated reported an increase in self-esteem and life satisfaction. Life satisfaction. That's a big word, chat. What does that even mean? You're telling me, when women cheat, they became so incredibly happy that they said their satisfaction with life as a whole got better? What? Are we sure they didn't just select the 600 most evil women they could find and like had a bias? Like, seriously, life satisfaction. What? Like, when you use that term, it makes me think of, I don't know, getting a really big raise at work, or jumping social classes or something. Like, you know, like you went from low middle income to high middle income, you know, that kind of thing. Or meeting your spouse, the love of your life kind of thing. Or having a baby and you're super happy about it. You know, like, I don't know, your siblings getting married. You know, that kind of thing? We're talking one single event that improves your life satisfaction. I'm putting this in air quotes. And for women, you're telling me it's cheating on their husband? Are we serious? How is this real? As Shu would say, it's looking bleak, man. This reads like you should cheat article. We've read so many of these. I don't know if I can take it seriously, man. The study published in the Journal of Psychological Science reads, our analysis detected one group of participants who seemed to recover and even thrive after infidelity. Unfaithful women. Potentially, women's affairs are more likely to be a result of partner dissatisfaction, and consequently, the affair may be a wake-up call for their partners, leading positive behavioral change. I have a lot of questions. Number one, is this a modern phenomenon? Was this the case, like, I don't know, 50 years ago or 60 years ago, and we're just not, like, we're just now discovering this phenomenon kind of deal? Or is this a result of, like, Tumblr and Reddit girl boss culture that's been psyoping women for the last, like, 10, 20 years? I think I have a feeling we all know the answer. I would bet money if you did the same experiment 50 years ago, you'd probably have a different result. How many articles have we made? Like, how many articles have we read and made fun of on stream that talk about how it's a good thing for women to cheat? Or that it's or even better, it's a good thing to be in an open relationship, and that having or even better, that having children is bad, putting your career first over everything else. Like, a ton. We've seen it. Unironic ones that use, like, actual quotes from studies, right? Remember that one? To frame things in a certain way, to psyop people and make it think it's okay. A ton! There has been a major cultural shift in the last 10 years that feels like a psyop. What a fucking clown world we live in when the most popular message to these freaking rage-baiting freaking websites is to cheat on your husband, don't settle down, work for corpos until you die, having kids is bad because they're annoying. Like, it has matured and come to fruition? But that's what I'm saying, is that it's matured from, like, the last 20 years. Yeah, get in the cage, work forever. Women going into the workforce doubled the workforce for the corpos, man. It became an employer's market. It used to be the other way around. It's so sad. And we've seen it through statistics. Even if you take this at, like, you know, with a grain of salt and you just laugh at it, it's kind of scary to think about. A look at outcomes suggests that male perpetrators were more negatively affected by the event. I need to read this study or something if someone can find it. Their results also revealed cheating was preceded by a gradual decrease in personal and relationship satisfaction over several years. They did this study for 12 years. What? This is insane. That's the justification? No, we don't want to work it out. I gotta cheat. This could be triggered by a number of reasons. For example, a lack of honest communication or a significant life event such as having a baby. In perpetrators, this decline might be a reason for starting an affair or even an intentional distress management strategy. Oh my god. Wait, I thought having an affair was stressful. What do you mean, de-stress management? Isn't, like, we've seen the movies where it's like, oh, we're cheating and, like, I'm cheating on my husband, and then you run away and you have to hide it from your family, and, like, the kids kind of figure it out, and then... Are we serious? What are we talking about here, man? De-stress management strategy. In victims, a decrease in well-being might be a result of feeling the partner's dissatisfaction or present or causal factor, increasing their likelihood of being cheated on. Hold on. I have to read this again because I just zoned out after I read this part. In victims, a decrease in well-being might be a result of feeling the partner's dissatisfaction or or represent a causal factor increasing their likelihood of being cheated on. Unhappiness has been associated with poor outcomes in social life in previous research. Chat, I've said this before a few times. I think it remains true to this day. Many things can be true at once, and that's almost always the case with this like culture war or gender war topic. There's almost never one single cause alone. I think many things cause this. How many times have we talked about how bad the dating scene is? How many times have we talked about how bad dating apps are, like Tinder and Hinge or whatever? How about the economy being so universally terrible in the East and the West, in Europe and in America, that it often takes two incomes to survive? The unemployment rate is through the roof. The constant girl boss propaganda that encourages women to not settle down, or worse, cheat on their husbands, or that having kids is bad, or that you just straight up can't afford to have a child. Don't forget that women have been taught that they deserve also like a 10 out of 10 man when they're like a 2 out of 10 and they bring nothing to the table and they just want a sugar daddy. I think all of these things combined together to make people stay in relationships that don't work. It makes both men and women reluctant to move on when they're obviously not meant for each other. And then that results in cheating. The difference is that women are told they're beating the patriarchy and it's a good thing to cheat, while men are not. That's my armchair anime girl, terminally online psychological analysis. Like, I'm definitely an expert in this, don't you know? They are the table? Yeah, you are the table as a woman. The social contract is degraded to the point where women don't need to be loyal and men don't want to work. It's sad, really. Men don't want to work because there's just such a getting into all of that will just make me spiral, because there's so many factors that goes into economy, how in the last 20 years wages haven't gone up and people are very unhappy, and how they can't afford houses. It's very nuanced, but I think that dating apps have absolutely done an immense amount of damage to society. People don't go out anymore. They only go out when they finally get to talking to someone that maybe clicked with them on a dating app that they spent 2 weeks talking to, or they spent 2 weeks talking to them and then it was a waste of time because they didn't end up being interested. That is also very much a case. Like, the list goes on. Hence, a decrease in personal well-being might make the future victim less attractive, contributing to the infidelity of the partner. Separate research has indicated that if your friends are having affairs, you're more likely to cheat too. Okay, that kind of makes sense, because people are very much like social animals. I can definitely see this happening. I think there's a lot less shame too. If you live in a society or in a friend circle where it's like normal to cheat and that's like an everyday thing, your brain becomes wired to think like, oh, well, you know, like, I was taught as a kid that this is not okay, but if all my friends are doing it, I guess it must not be that bad. Like, it's very much like a triggering thing. Women gas each other up. I mean, men gas each other up too, but women gas each other up even when they're not very attractive. It's the crabs in the bucket theory. Find new friends? Yeah, but what if you're not very smart and then, you know, you spiral and you just keep doing it? People don't have to talk to people anymore. I went to Comic-Con over the weekend. I tried to talk to a few people, but got brushed off. No one wanted to start a conversation or even talk about their cosplays or finds at a con. If you're already in a group circle, it's difficult to get into one. Damn, that sucks, man. So this study went over 12,000 people. They focused on 600 that did this. Wow, wait, what? Wait, that actually makes it a little bit more interesting. If it's 12,000 people, that's a really big sample size that concentrates over 12 years. Someone linked it earlier. I'm not gonna read it because it's really long, but I'm trying to find numbers. Does it say 12,000 anywhere? When did they start? Partner outcomes. Wait, this is actually really in-depth. Life satisfaction, self-esteem, relationship satisfaction, intimacy, intercept, selection, post-event baseline change. Wait, this isn't like actually talking out of its ass. This is an actual study. Dude, look. Look at the table. Actor admiration, actor of dominance, partner intimacy, admiration. But I digress. It's very interesting that. Big number. Big number. Where was I? Researchers from Reichman University in Israel discovered that when adultery becomes the norm, feelings of commitment to a current partner are reduced while desire for an alternative mate increases. Yes, I mean, that's just obvious. Humans are social creatures. If you start displaying a behavior and people think it's okay, yeah, you're gonna start doing it. It's how people get into bad behaviors. They warned the phenomenon appeared to affect males more than females. According to the Office of National Statistics, ONS, infidelity is one of the most commonly cited reasons for divorce in the UK. A YouGov poll carried out in 2015 revealed that as many as 1 in 5 Brits have had an affair. Wow. Again, if your friends are having affairs, you are more likely to cheat too. How about when every woman on Reddit and every slop opinion piece article like the Daily Mail written tells you cheating is a good thing, when you're constantly bombarded with dog shit advice from the online and your IRL sphere? Often fat, lonely, depressed, midlife crisis women with 7 cats that want you to be as unhappy as they are. Maybe that might affect your decision making. We saw it millions of times on Reddit. Millions and billions of times. They're not addressing the root of the problem. Okay, your bestie's cheating on her husband, so now you want to, like, what? Now you want to do it? Now you want to do it because your bestie did it? Why did they do it? Why do you think they did it? Because they see it online and they think it's okay, and then they see it in real life and they're like, oh, I guess maybe it's not that bad. America needs to find morals again? I guess so. I think the world needs to find morals again. You know what's funny? You say that, but then this is a study in Europe over 12 years. I don't know. Maybe it's not just America. Maybe not. Also, when adultery becomes the norm, feelings of commitment to a current partner are reduced while desire for an alternative mate increases. This is probably the only true statement in the entire article. Every time you have sex with a different person, it decreases, like, your ability to find and connect, like, with people, in my opinion. We've talked about how, like, OnlyFans girls will start to see sex as, like, this transactional thing, and it changes their psychology, which is incredibly bad, by the way. Porn stars say that this is a phenomenon as well. That the more sex they have with people, the more they get desensitized to it. The more partners you have, the less likely you are finally to get married and stay married. So yeah, the world's kind of fucked. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to sugarcoat it or anything. No one's having babies. Everyone's socially retarded, including me. Dating apps ruined your expectations. And your childhood crush or the person that you played WoW with fucking shows their holes on OnlyFans for money. It's over. We're black-pilled. Back it up. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Not everyone is like this. Don't let social media and miserable people black-pill you into thinking like you'll never find someone. If you let that happen, they win, okay? Have some faith. Please. I had a friend who went through a whole phase, and while she was in it, I told her she will end up disliking it, and a year later, she tells me she feels sad because sex doesn't mean shit to her anymore. I'm telling you, you guys are talking about desensitizing yourself. Your brain has certain barriers to make things feel special. I'm not likening things one-to-one because I'm not a doctor. I don't know exactly how brains work, but let's take dopamine, for example. The first time you start scrolling on TikTok, it feels really, really good, right? And you get that dopamine that's really, really high. Sex is the same way. Your dopamine, the first time you have sex, the first like 100 times, it's amazing. After you do it like 400 times with 400 different people or whatever number, I'm sure that fries your dopamine receptors. You can't argue with that. That's how science works. You start scrolling and doom scrolling on TikTok, you're not getting that same dopamine hit because your brain starts to get hooked, and that's how your dopamine becomes addicted to scrolling on TikTok. TikTok, not dick talk. TikTok. You get my point, though. I'm not saying, like, again, I always try to make it sound at least reasonable. When OnlyFans girls complain about having detachment problems or that they need more attention from their boyfriends or their quote-unquote husbands after they do, you know, sets of photos, or they, I don't know, they show their hole on OnlyFans. Like, it's your body. You do what you want. It's just that there's consequences to doing it. And it sucks because people warn them about it, too. You can't argue with science, sorry. They were messed up before they started OF. Not always. I think people get talked into it too. Maybe they're in a position financially where they feel like they have to do it, or something bad will happen.
Fire, 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 fire.